Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. So today we're talking about changing my business model. A lot of you have asked about what I've learned from the six-figure series, and we are continuing with the six-figure success series right into the new year. So I'm going to be telling you later on in this episode about some of the amazing guests that we have coming up, and believe me, I did happy dances because some of the people that I have been getting to record with over the last few weeks to put the rest of this series together with is just phenomenal. We will have new workbooks and all that kind of stuff coming out, but people have come to me and said, Jess, you've given us some of the key takeaways, but what are the big things that you've really learned from recording the six-figure success series and getting to talk to so many amazing people? And talking about learning stuff is always a really difficult one for me because I'm a bit like, well, learning stuff is great, but what am I actually going to be implementing? Because surely that's more interesting to you guys and for me to talk about selfishly. And so that's what I want to talk about today is what am I actually going to be implementing from the six-figure success series and how am I going to be changing my business as a result? Because I think we can get into this trap of feeling like people who are playing at a certain level don't need to ever change their business. They don't ever want to grow. They don't learn anything new. And you get to a certain point apparently where everything just downloads immediately into your brain and you never need to have to think about it anymore. I'm waiting for that day, but I just can't wait. I'm going to be like the oracle of business. If anyone else is already there, please hit me up and tell me what it's like because I think it would be amazing. But this is the thing. For me, your business it's evolutionary, right? And it's always going to be growing. It's always going to be changing. And so when I started to hearing people ask about, what are other key takeaways or what other things did you learn? I wanted to say, don't worry about what I learned because, there were some things that were really new and exciting and that's cool. But more importantly, it's the things that I'm implementing that you want to be watching and learning from. So that's what I want to talk about today. What am I actually going to be implementing and changing in my business since I've started recording and running this awesome six-figure success series? And if you have not downloaded your free workbook yet, make sure you head over to the show notes and download that because, again, lots of new and exciting guests, and I don't want you to miss out on making the right notes for each of them. Without further ado, let's rock and roll. Let's do some actual implementation chat. So, one of the most enlightening things for me about the six-figure success series was the fact that over the last year in my business, and I would say over the last 18 months, I've tried a lot. I have experimented with a lot of different things. I've experimented with different social media platforms. So I played around with Snapchat filters at the beginning of 2018, which I think was a really good look, and I'm going to take a stand on. Snapchat filters made me look phenomenal. Just throwing it out there, okay? So, they made me look phenomenal, if a little odd. So I experimented with Snapchat. At the, sort of middle of 2017, I went back to experimenting with Periscope. That lasted about a week. I experimented with different styles of content. What did I want to implement into my business? So I experimented with weekly blogging. I experimented with reducing the amount of emails that I sent to my list. And of course, I launched this podcast, which has been phenomenal and easily the favorite decision of the year. But it's meant that I've spent the last 18 months in this experimentation phase. And whilst that's great and it's given me some amazing things to think about, it's opened my eyes to new ways of communicating with my audience and building relationships with them, it's also meant that I've lacked something that we've been talking about on the Six-Figure Success series an awful lot, which is focus and commitment. And for me, as somebody who started my business, and I was super committed to like 2 or 3 things. When I first started out, my commitment was to my email list. I emailed my list religiously, 2 to 3 times a week, every week, without fail. And in my experimentation phase, that kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. And it really frustrated me because I love my email list. It's my favorite way in terms of written content to actually communicate with people because it's so much fun. It's like writing to a pen pal every week. And so for me, I was frustrated that that had fallen by the wayside so that I could focus on other things. I was also frustrated at social media because I've had a love-hate relationship with social media for the last 4 years. And actually before that, I was never a massive Facebooker. I was never really an Instagrammer or a tweeter or anything like that before I set up my business. And then I came into this world and I set up a group, and it has thrived. It's gone from strength to strength. And I really love my community. But what I was also finding was that I had a ton of random friends on Facebook. And in my newsfeed, all of the time, all I was seeing was just people trying to improve me. And so I'd log on, and I don't know if this happens to you, but I log on to Facebook in the morning and I scroll through, and all I see are people telling me how I can be a better person, what ways I can improve my business, how I can look better, how I can, improve my mindset, how I can market myself better, how I can do all this stuff. And I don't want to see that at 7 a.m. And you might be thinking, well, Jess, just don't look at your phone at 7 a.m. in the morning. But actually, it's my choice. And actually, I just want to kind of scroll through my newsfeed. And I want to know the gossip. I want to know who's getting married this year, who just got engaged, who's pregnant. Those things at this time in my life are the important updates. And I seem to miss them because for some reason, my friends are not playing the algorithm. My real life friends, they're not posting at the air quote right times of day. They're not commenting on their own statuses, or they're not liking them. So they're not pushing them to the top of my feed. Instead, I'm just getting overwhelmed by people who are telling me that I should be better. I should be perfect. And I don't want to be. And I never have really wanted to be. And it's one of the reasons that for the last, year and a half, I've been able to scroll my newsfeed and not really care about people wanting me to be better in my personal time. But recently what's happened is that I've been putting out social media statuses of my own. I'm having a dance party for the Spice Girls with our new soundbar. And people have felt the need to message me and say, but Jess, are there any other activities that you could do that would be better for your self-development? And I think some very rude words about those messages. Rude words that if you are listening to the podcast at 7 a.m, I'm not going to say because, 7 a.m, nobody needs to hear that. But it made me think about this lack of focus and what it's actually been doing to my business. And not just my business, but also what it's been doing to me and what it's been doing to everybody else, right? Because when we wake up and when we are scrolling through our personal newsfeed that should theoretically be full of our friends telling us funny stories, maybe having a bit of a rant about work, talking about their changes that are going on in their lives and all that kind of thing. And instead we're seeing, you are not perfect. Improve your business like this. Be better like that. Go and do this and make more money or be more healthy or whatever it is. It's actually pretty soul destroying because it feels like all the effort that you're putting in, it just isn't good enough. And I don't want to feel like that. And I don't want my community to feel like that. And it's one of the reasons that I don't really use my personal profile for business because otherwise, let's face it, how else would you all find out what Max has been up to today? Or, how else would you all find out exactly how much food Sam and I have managed to consume in a really short space of time? You wouldn't. And those are the things that make me human. The flaws that I have, the imperfections that I have are the things that make me inherently perfect for my audience. And I don't want to hide that. And so I'm not going to be participating in this kind of like, let's all bash each other to be perfect and let's all sell from our personal timelines. And, that'll give us a wider variety of people to sell to because I've never liked it anyway. I'm obviously not going to start the habit, but I'm also going to start focusing on what I really want and how I really want to communicate with people. And that's my idea from this 6-figure success series. It's this idea of focus and recommitting to some of the things that I've wanted to do for a long time and have been putting off because I've stayed in this lovely experimental world where I get to do new things and be like, oh, does that work? Does it not? Let's have a look and see. And I'm coming out of that testing phase and into I'm no longer testing. I'm back in the game. I'm committing to strategies and I'm seeing them through and I'm committing to them for a long-term period. And it's one of the reasons I've actually signed up to a high-level mastermind for next year, because I want to be surrounded by other people who are doing this and who are committing to one strategy and who are not flaking out just because, the Facebook algorithm suddenly changed again and we all have to do another dance to make Zuckerberg happy, right? So these are some of the things that I'm going to be implementing. And why? Because I think it's good to be transparent in an age where people don't always talk transparently and openly about what really happens. This is the behind the scenes. This is me working through some of the strategic questions that I have about my business and about what I really want to do next year. All right. So we're doing this live. So I may work through this episode and be like, actually, the thing that I said at the start, scrap that. I'm going to do this instead. But I'm hoping to be more cohesive than that. I have actually started my new year planning because I am annoyingly obsessive about it. I want it done before December so I can just spend December doing tequila shots and drinking a lot of wine like everybody else. So let's look at what I'm going to be doing. First things first, we've just talked about social media and how it makes me feel. And so it is no surprise, or it should come as no surprise to you guys, that I'm going to be doing a lot less on social media. Now, you are my poddies. It is quite likely that you don't see me on social media all that much anyway, because you guys are hanging out with me in your earbuds. But if you are in my Facebook community, and if you are, friends with me on Facebook, or you're following me on Twitter or the Gram or whatever's your kind of platform of choice, you'll notice that I'm not being as active. And yes, one of the reasons is because I'm a very boring person and I don't actually do that much. And the other reason is I just don't feel the need to sell to my friends, right? And I consider the people who have taken the time to join me on the podcast or to actually friend me on Facebook as people I want to spend time with. And so I don't want to sit there and make them feel the way that I do when I log into social media in the morning and this overwhelming, oh my God, here's someone else trying to tell me that I need to be a better speaker or a better marketer or a better salesperson or a better this or a better that. I just don't want to do that. So I'm culling my friends list and I'm going to retain people that I actually have connections with. And people who literally just rock up every day. I don't care how many friends they've got or how many followers they've got. And they just bang on and on and on and on about their businesses and about how everyone else should be healthier or wealthier or whatever. I'm just going to mute them or cull them or whatever, because I'm going into my 30th year and I hadn't realized how big a deal that was going to be for me. But I want it to be the best year ever, because this is the year I'm going to hit the big 3-0 and I'm officially going to become an adult. And you know what? Adults don't care about being better because other people want them to. Adults care about being better human beings because they just want to, be a kinder person, bring something else to the world. That's the route that I'm taking for my 30th year, is how can I be a genuinely better, kinder human? And so I'm just going to get rid of those people who are not working to become better, kinder human beings, despite the fact that they're plastering all over social media. But in actual fact, just making everyone feel like total crap about any kind of progress that they may be making. All right. So I'm going to be quieter on social media. If, however, you are actually friends with me on Facebook, you will be seeing way more photos of my dog because, frankly, that's the only thing I have to take photos of. Now that the weather is rubbish, the beach is not looking as great. So who knew? Lost Instagram opportunities. And I'm going to be spending more time developing genuine connection with people, right? I want to actually network and communicate and have connections with real humans that I can do things for and that may actually also want to do things for me, right? That's what I'm going to do. The other thing with that is that I have this Facebook group. And so I was in there the other day and I was actually telling them how I was going to change some things, because it's only fair if I'm changing the platform that they're on and if I'm changing the group that they've committed to, that I let them know. And so one of the things I explained was, I just don't want to be in here starting the conversation all the time. And it's not because I'm lazy. It's really not. And I've thought long and hard about this. It's because social media and the internet really makes us consumers, right? We consume all this information. We consume all these opinions. We consume. but we rarely implement. And I don't want to contribute to this constant cycle of consumption any longer. And so for me, what I want to do is turn this Facebook community with all of these amazing people, over 2,000 amazing people, into a discussion group about this podcast. So that actually people have discussion points. You can come in and be like, Jess, you said this on your podcast. I heartily disagree, and here is why. And we can have an interesting conversation. Or you go, Jess, I love this point on your podcast, but how could I implement that? Or how are you going to be tailoring it for your business? Or can you show me an example? Because I want conversations with people who are genuinely interested and engaged and want to be better salespeople, want to be better business owners. But I want to do it in a way that you can go and check it out, not where I'm going to be force feeding it to you like some weird goose at Christmas. You can consume the information when you want, but also it sparks discussions and ideas that help you implement and take action right now. And that's really important. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the Facebook group, right? It's going to become a discussion portal for the podcast. And I'm really excited about that. So feel free, if you haven't joined it yet, links in the show notes, you can go in and you can start having conversations with me about things that we talk about each week. You know, things that are actually relevant to your business right now, about how you can improve, about ways that we can, you know, all celebrate new ideas and celebrate challenges and, you know, just talk about different options and interesting opinions. Now, the other thing is, I really love my podcast. Like, can we just get some props here? I feel like there should be some kind of weird overlay of a celebration trumpet or something. But I do. I love the podcast. I love talking to you guys. I love being able to twice a week have an interesting conversation with you and with somebody else. And it's like I'm sat down in your car or walking with you with your dog or having a cup of tea in a coffee shop and just chatting. And that's what I really like about it. It's relaxed, it's chilled, it's fun for me. And the biggest kick I get is when anyone from the podcast emails me or messages me and says, hey, Jess, that was a really cool episode. Or, oh, I'm really interested in that idea. Or, oh, I implemented this. Those are the biggest kicks that I get from any of the free content that I put on the internet. And so I want to do more of it because let's face it, in business, you've got to do more of what you love because you're already doing so much of the stuff that you probably don't just because you have to or you should, right? And so I want to dial down for 2019 on the stuff that I love. And that's why in December 2018, in just a couple of weeks, we are going to be launching a third episode a week for the Smart Leader Sell podcast. Yay! I can hear you all cheering right now. But I'm really excited about this. I'm so excited. So instead of just having a Monday episode and Friday episode, we're going to have a 10-minute take action segment that pops up into your iTunes or relative podcast play app on a Wednesday. So you're going to get my dulcet tones Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to make sure that all week you have the sales tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use to genuinely make your business better, improve it, and have a blast, hopefully, along the way. You know, so the Monday episode is going to stay the same. We're still going to do these slightly longer solo episodes where I'm giving actionable advice, taking you behind the scenes in my business, showing you things that have worked, things that don't, ways to do things. On a Wednesday, it's going to be take action time, and we're going to be giving you literally a 10 to 15 minute short episode where I'm going to be explaining one thing each week that you can be doing to improve your business, to improve your sales style or your sales technique. Super short, long enough for a dog walk or that inevitable trip to Tesco that you really don't want to do. And then Friday, we're going to continue with the guest episodes in different formats. So we're going to be continuing with this 6-figure success series, the real reasons and the real strategies behind the stratospheric sales success for certain businesses. And we have some epic guests lined up, okay? And I'm going to be talking about those towards the end of this episode, so I'm not going to spoil it now. But we're going to have another episode a week, and I'm really excited about this. So if you are joining me in excitement, I know that you can't throw prayer hand emojis or whatever on iTunes as you're listening, But definitely like hit up the business page, hit me up on email, hit me up on whatever you can. And just let me know that you're excited, because there are quite a few thousand of you who now listen to the podcast. And I'm hoping that you're just as thrilled about having a new episode as I am about being able to make it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm bringing Instagram stories to life. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I know that I said I was getting rid of social media, and I am. I'm getting rid of social media in that I'm not going to be playing around with, Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But people have often said to me, Jess, what do you do every day? And that is a very interesting question. And if you've been thinking it, don't worry, you're not the first person. My boyfriend asks me regularly, as do my, relatives and other friends. And so people have said to me, okay, Jess, it'd be great if we could see what actually goes on. What happens in your life? And so I am going to be on Instagram stories, and I actually have already started doing this for 3 whole days now. I've been posting 2 Instagram stories. Yes, be proud of me. Give me praise. And I've been posting some of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on in my life. Now that means you get access to my daily dance parties, because who doesn't dance in their kitchen to get themselves motivated? If you don't, you're lying. You're going to get access to my dog walks and random business thoughts when I'm by the beach with Max. And you're going to get access to some of the weird and wonderful things that I am doing to improve my business every single day. So make sure you check out Instagram stories. I'm over there, Jess_Lorimer, and we'll pop that in the show notes for you as well. So if you want to come and stalk me over on the stories and see what I actually do, spend my days doing, then it would be lovely to see your faces over there as well. And then finally, for me, and this is probably alongside the implementing a new podcast episode every week, this is like my favorite. I'm going to be going back to my basics. I'm going back to my roots, and I'm really diving into my email list and communicating with my pen pals. It's something that I've really missed over the last 18 months. And if I'm honest, I kept up with the bare minimum. And that's worked, right? Let's be honest. I've done the bare minimum for 18 months. I've sent out, 1 email a week, every week, telling people what content they can access, what content we've put out that's free. And occasionally I sent 2 emails. And, then I've done launches and all that kind of thing. And the thing that strikes me about these launches is that people come back to me, and yes, they buy and it's fantastic. But also they say, I love these emails. I really love your emails. They're so valuable. They're so funny. And this isn't an ego trip for me, although it is really great when people say that. It's really great when people say they like your content. But I've really missed putting out connection-based emails every week. And I've really missed communicating with my audience at that level where you actually sit down every week and you have a cup of tea and think, Jess's email should be landing in my inbox right about now. And that's where I want to get back to. It's that deeper connection that I want to have with my audience and with you guys, where I just want to be able to rock up in your inbox twice a week and be like, hey, look, here's some value. Do this thing. Try this tip. See what's going on in the industry. And we have a little giggle about it, and we have a cup of tea together, and we learn stuff. Because actually that's really important to me. And I know that when you're a podcast listener, you don't want to join every list under the sun, because otherwise, let's face it, a lot of you are bingers. I am also a podcast binger. I'd be on every list from here to Australia. But if you are somebody who's like, yeah, actually, I kind of like you, Jess, and I don't want to be on social media all the time, but I'd like to hear from you a couple of times a week, then, get on the email list and we're going to figure it out together. I'm going to go back to basics on it. My dotties are very, very excited because they already do get 2 emails a week, and all of them are on the other list as well. So all my dotties, 3 emails a week, and they get very excited about it. But for you guys, I just want to do something that's a little bit more connection, a little bit more interesting, and that takes me into a place that you can read when you want, as opposed to me just blasting you in the face with what I think are my top tips on social media every single day. So that's what I'm going to be doing in 2019, and we're starting early, obviously, with the new podcast episodes and stuff. But that's what I'm going to be doing, is changing my business and going back to this idea of focus and the power of one. I'm adding 1 new thing in each area, right? I'm adding 1 new podcast episode, because my podcast is my traffic source, and I love it and I really enjoy it. So do more of it. I'm adding one social media element. I'm going to do Instagram stories. I'm going to do the whole behind the scenes thing because it is fun to snoop on other people and what they're doing and what they're really like. Are they the same in person? Who knows? I hope I am. Also, don't be disappointed when I'm in pajamas like all the time because that is just how I roll. And I'm adding, or I'm not really adding, but I'm taking one thing back from my original sales strategy right from the beginning of my business. I'm bringing back email marketing on a cool level, on a fun level, on a level that is engaging and interactive, where I actually get to be friends with you and be the person who gives trusted advice in your earbuds and in your email inbox. And to me, that's kind of cool. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on in 2019. And those are my words for 2019: focus and commitment. And everything else I'm not going to do. So you won't see me on whatever the hot new social media platform is. I'm not going to be there. You won't see me going off on any other tangents. Next year is all about focus and committing to the things that I've already laid out and just doing them supremely well. And that's all I want to do. So if you are joining me on this bandwagon, if you are giving Facebook the finger and you are excited about streamlining your sales processes and your business, get in touch. Let me know, honestly, what are you focusing on? What are you committing to for 2019? Because I promise you, I will be just as excited to hear about it as I am to talk to you about mine. Now, this Friday, we have a super special episode. We actually have the lovely John Lee Demas coming onto the podcast, and he is going to be sharing his sales strategies, and he's going to be talking about the real reasons that he has been able to become one of the most successful internet marketers and business owners in the world. And he's going to be on Friday, so make sure that you tune in for that. And I will see you in Monday's episode, where we're going to be talking about email marketing. Does it actually work? Does it actually make you money? I'll see you on Monday. Have an epic week and really enjoy Friday's episode with JLD because it is amazing.